The Horizon was the pride of Earth. It was not a warship. It was a ship of peace, built to carry humanity's first official delegation to the Galactic Council. 200 crew members lived aboard, including scientists, translators, doctors, and diplomats. They had trained for years for this mission. They believed they were about to change history. Captain Park Taiho stood on the bridge and watched the stars pass by. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had served in the Terran Navy for 30 years, but he had never fired a weapon in anger. He preferred talking to fighting. That was why they chose him for this mission. Lieutenant Kim Yuna sat at the communications console. She was young, only 28, but she was the best translator Earth had. She spoke 11 alien languages fluently. She had spent months studying Council customs and protocols. She wanted everything to be perfect. Dr. Cho Minho worked in the science lab, preparing his presentation on human culture. He was a xenobiologist, a man who studied alien life. But for this mission, his job was to help aliens understand humans. He had brought music, art, literature, and food samples. He wanted to show the galaxy that humans were more than just newcomers. The Horizon arrived at Station Prime after a journey of 3 weeks. Station Prime was enormous, larger than Earth's moon. It housed the Galactic Council, a coalition of 47 alien species that had kept peace for 10,000 years. Millions of beings lived there, from hundreds of different worlds. Captain Taiho felt nervous as they approached. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 20 years ago. Compared to the Council species, humans were infants. But they had been invited to apply for membership. And Taiho was determined to make a good impression. The docking process took 6 hours. Council security scanned their ship repeatedly. They asked endless questions. They made the crew wait in uncomfortable holding areas. Taiho noticed that other ships docked in minutes. He said nothing. He smiled and cooperated. When they finally entered the Council chamber, Taiho understood why others called it the heart of the galaxy. The room was vast, with seats rising in circles around a central platform. Representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber. Some looked like insects. Others resembled plants or rocks or things Taiho could not describe. The air smelled strange, a mix of different atmospheres blended together. A tall being with silver skin approached them. This was Councillor Morath of the Valkyrie Dominion, one of the most powerful species in the Council. The Valkyrie looked almost human, except for their metallic skin and 4 arms. Morath smiled, but the smile did not reach his eyes. "Welcome, humans," Morath said. His voice was smooth like oil. "We are so pleased that you could join us. It is always interesting to meet primitive species." Lieutenant Yuna stiffened at the insult, but she translated the words neutrally. Captain Taiho kept his expression calm. "Thank you for receiving us," Taiho replied. "We are honored to be here and eager to learn from the Council's wisdom." The negotiations lasted for 5 days. Each day brought new insults. The Council members talked over the humans, interrupted them, and laughed at their proposals. They called Earth a death world because of its harsh conditions. They said humans were too violent, too emotional, too unpredictable for membership. Dr. Cho presented his cultural exhibition. A Valkyrie delegate knocked over the display of human art and called it primitive scribbling. Another alien tasted the food samples and spat them out in disgust. Cho cleaned up the mess himself. He did not complain. On the 5th day, Councillor Morath made his move. He stood before the full council and gave a long speech about humanity's history of war. He showed images of human conflicts, of bombs and battles and suffering. He called humans violent insects who would bring chaos to the peaceful galaxy. Captain Taiho asked permission to respond. Morath granted it with a mocking wave of his 4 arms. Taiho spoke quietly but clearly. "Yes, humanity has known war. We do not hide from our history. But we have also known peace. We have built, created, loved, and sacrificed for each other. We come here not to conquer, but to cooperate. We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves." The chamber was silent for a moment. Then Morath laughed, and others laughed with him. "Pretty words," Morath said. But words are cheap. We will give you our answer soon. That night, the Horizon prepared to depart. The Council had rejected their membership application. They would return to Earth with nothing but insults and failure. But Taiho told his crew to keep their heads high. They had done their best. They had represented humanity with dignity. Lieutenant Yuna was running final system checks when she noticed something strange. A Valkyrie ship was approaching, running without identification signals. She reported it to the captain immediately. Taiho opened a channel to Station Prime Security. "This is the Terran vessel Horizon. We have an unidentified ship approaching our position. Please advise." There was no response. The Valkyrie ship fired. The first shot disabled the Horizon's engines. The second destroyed the communication array. The third hit the reactor core. Lieutenant Yuna managed to send one final transmission to Earth, just 3 words: "Valkyrie attacking us." Then the Horizon exploded. 200 humans died in an instant. Captain Park Taiho, who had never fired a weapon in anger. Lieutenant Kim Yuna, who spoke 11 languages. Dr. Cho Minho, who wanted to share human culture with the stars. All of them gone. The Galactic Council held an investigation. It lasted 2 days. They ruled that the Horizon's destruction was a tragic accident, a malfunction in the ship's reactor. The Valkyrie expressed their condolences. Counselor Morath said he was deeply saddened by the loss of life. Earth received the news in silence. The government made no immediate statement. No angry speeches, no demands for justice. Just silence. The galaxy thought humans were in shock. They thought the primitive species was too weak to respond, too frightened to challenge the mighty Valkyrie dominion. Some council members felt a little guilty. Most felt nothing at all. The humans were insects after all. Insects died all the time. They did not understand what the silence meant. On Earth, in a secure room deep beneath the city of Seoul, Admiral Lia Guan read Lieutenant Yuna's final transmission. She read it again. Then she closed her eyes for a long moment. When she opened them, her face was calm and cold. "Get me the president," she said, "and activate the War Council." The silence was not shock. The silence was not fear. The silence was Earth taking a very deep breath before it screamed. President Kang Doyan had not slept in 3 days. He sat in the war room beneath Seoul, surrounded by screens showing data from across the solar system. His advisors came and went, bringing reports and recommendations. He listened to all of them. He said very little. Admiral Lee Ji-won stood beside him, her uniform perfect, her face unreadable. She had served Earth for 40 years. She had fought pirates in the asteroid belt and rebels on Mars, but she had never prepared for a war like this. "The public is demanding answers," said Director Baek Sojin, head of Terran Intelligence. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who noticed everything. "They know the Council's story is a lie. They want justice." President Kang nodded slowly. "They will have it." He stood and walked to the main screen, which showed a map of Valkyrie space. 17 colony systems, hundreds of military bases, thousands of ships. The Valkyrie Dominion was one of the oldest and most powerful members of the Galactic Council. They had conquered dozens of species over the centuries. "Director Baek," the president said, "show me what you have found." Sujin touched a control panel. The screen filled with intelligence reports, intercepted communications, and secret recordings. Her network of spies had been gathering information on the Valkyrie for years. Ever since Earth first made contact with the galaxy, the Valkyrie destroyed the Horizon deliberately, Sujin said. Counselor Morath ordered the attack personally. They fear humanity's rapid advancement. They believe that if humans join the Council, we will eventually challenge their power. Is there more? Admiral Lee asked. Much more. The Valkyrie have been manipulating the Council for centuries. They have secretly destroyed 3 other species that threaten their position. They control key trade routes and use economic pressure to keep other members obedient. The Council knows this, but they do nothing because they fear the Valkyrie. President Kang studied the data in silence. Then he turned to Admiral Lee. "Can we win?" The Admiral did not hesitate. Yes, but only if we strike first, strike hard, and strike everywhere at once. The Valkyrie have more ships than us, but their military is designed for intimidation, not real war. They have not fought a serious enemy in 800 years. We have been fighting each other for our entire history. The president closed his eyes. 200 people had died on the horizon. Good people. Brave people. People who had gone to the stars with open hands and hopeful hearts. Prepare Operation Iron Wake, he said. We move in 3 weeks. The next morning, President Kang addressed the people of Earth. He stood in front of a simple blue background, wearing a dark suit. His voice was calm and steady. Citizens of Earth, he said. 3 days ago, our ship Horizon was destroyed by the Valkyrie Dominion. 200 of our people were murdered. The Galactic Council has ruled this an accident. They are wrong. He paused to let the words sink in. We have evidence that this was a deliberate attack ordered by Valkyrie leadership. We have shared this evidence with the Council. They have chosen to ignore it. They believe that humanity is too weak to seek justice. They believe we will accept this insult and return to our small corner of the galaxy. Another pause. They are wrong about that too. He looked directly into the camera. Earth will respond appropriately. We ask for patience. We ask for trust. And we ask the galaxy to remember that we did not start this. We came in peace. We were answered with murder. What happens next is not our choice. It is theirs. The transmission ended. Earth's borders closed. All communications with the outside galaxy stopped. Trade ships were turned away. Diplomatic channels went silent. The galaxy waited for humanity's next move. Days passed. Then weeks. Nothing happened. On Station Prime, the council members began to relax. Counselor Morath told jokes about the cowardly humans hiding on their death world. Other species laughed nervously. They wanted to believe that the crisis was over, but some of the older council members were not laughing. Counselor Drevin, the eldest member of the council, watched the empty space where Earth's signals used to be. He was from a species that had seen many wars. He knew what silence meant. They are not hiding, he said quietly. They are preparing. No one listened to him. Behind Earth's closed borders, the largest military mobilization in human history was underway. Factories that made consumer goods switched to producing weapons. Shipyards that built cargo vessels began constructing warships. Scientists who studied peaceful technologies turned their minds to destruction. Admiral Lee commanded the operation from her headquarters in orbit above Luna. She worked 20 hours a day, sleeping in her office, eating at her desk. Her staff had never seen her so focused. The Valkyrie think we are primitives, she told her commanders. They think our ships are slow and our weapons are weak. They are wrong. We have been hiding our true capabilities since we first made contact. We knew that the galaxy would fear us if they saw what we could really do. She pulled up a display of Earth's secret fleet. Ships that were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the Valkyrie had ever seen. Weapons that could crack planets. Soldiers trained in ways the galaxy could not imagine. We did not want to use these things, Admiral Lee said. We wanted peace. But peace requires that both sides want it. The Valkyrie have made their choice. Now we make ours. Director Beek's intelligence network worked, day and night. They mapped every Valkyrie military base, every supply route, every command center. They identified weaknesses in Valkyrie defenses. They found the locations of their leaders. We will hit them everywhere at once, Admiral Lee explained to President Kang. Every military target simultaneously. They will have no time to respond, no time to coordinate. Their entire war machine will collapse in days. The president looked at the battle plans. Thousands of targets. Millions of soldiers. The largest military operation in human history. Civilian casualties? He asked. Minimal. We are targeting military assets only. We are not monsters. Kang nodded slowly. And after we win? Admiral Lee paused. This was the part that mattered most. After we win, we stop. We do not occupy their worlds. We do not enslave their people. We break their ability to hurt us, and then we offer them peace. Real peace, not the false peace of the Council. President Kang was silent for a long moment. Then he gave the order, execute Operation Iron Wake. 3 weeks after the destruction of the horizon, Earth's fleet launched. 10,000 ships moved through space in perfect formation, heading for Valkyrie territory. They traveled in complete radio silence. They were ghosts in the darkness. On Station Prime, Counselor Morath was hosting a celebration. He was telling his guests about how he had crushed the human threat. He was laughing about their pathetic diplomatic mission. His communicator buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again, finally, annoyed, he answered it. His military commander appeared on the screen. The commander's face was pale with terror. "Counselor," the commander said, "the humans are here. They are everywhere. They are—" The transmission cut off. Morath stared at the blank screen. Around him, his guests had gone silent. In the distance, through the station's windows, they could see flashes of light. The humans had arrived. And they had brought hell with them. Vice Admiral Shin Hana stood on the bridge of the Terran battleship, Vengeance, and watched the Valkyrie fleet burn. She was a short woman with black hair tied back tight. Her face showed no emotion. She had a job to do. "All squadrons report status," she said calmly. The reports came in from across Valkyrie space. First Fleet had destroyed the orbital defenses around. Valkar Prime 2nd Fleet had taken control of the shipyards at Morith Station. 3rd Fleet had disabled the communication network across all 17 colony systems. 4th Fleet was hunting down the remaining Valkyrie. Warships. Everything was going according to plan. The Valkyrie had 10,000 ships. Earth had brought 8,000. But numbers meant nothing when one side had been preparing for real war and the other had been playing political games for centuries. The Valkyrie ships were beautiful, decorated with gold and silver, designed to impress ambassadors and intimidate weaker species. They were not designed for actual combat. Earth's ships were ugly. They were gray and angular, covered in armor and weapons. They had no decorations. They were built for one purpose: to destroy enemies as efficiently as possible. Vice Admiral Shin watched as her fighters swarmed a Valkyrie battlecruiser. The enemy ship was 3 times larger than any Terran vessel, but it moved slowly and its weapons could not track the fast human fighters. Within minutes, the battlecruiser was dead in space. Its engines destroyed, its weapons offline. "Enemy commander is signaling surrender," Lieutenant Ru reported from the communications station. "Accept it," Shin said. "Send a boarding team to secure the ship and treat any wounded. Then move to the next target." This was how Earth fought. Fast, precise, professional. They did not waste time with speeches or threats. They did not torture prisoners or destroy civilian targets. They simply broke the enemy's ability to fight, and then they moved on. On the surface of Valkar Prime, Colonel Yu Jaewon led the ground assault. His special forces had trained for years in secret, preparing for a war they hoped would never come. Now they moved through the capital city like ghosts, targeting military installations and government bunkers. The Valkyrie ground troops did not know how to respond. They had never faced an enemy like this. Human soldiers moved in perfect coordination, communicating through encrypted signals, covering each other, never panicking. They used weapons the Valkyrie had never seen before: rifles that fired bolts of plasma, grenades that disabled electronics, drones that could see through walls. Colonel Yu reached the main military command center in less than 6 hours. His team breached the doors with explosive charges and swept through the building room by room. They captured dozens of Valkyrie officers, including 3 generals. One of the generals tried to trigger a self-destruct device. A Terran soldier shot the device out of his hand before he could activate it. The shot was so precise that it did not even scratch the general's fingers. "Secure the prisoners," Colonel Yu ordered. "Medical team, treat the wounded, including enemy wounded. Intelligence team, download all data from their systems." His soldiers moved without hesitation. They had trained for this thousands of times. They knew exactly what to do. Across Valkyrie space, the same scene repeated. Terran forces struck military targets with overwhelming power. They captured bases, destroyed weapons, and disabled ships. They moved so fast that the Valkyrie could not coordinate a response. By the time one commander understood what was happening, his communications were already cut and his reinforcements were already destroyed. Vice Admiral Shin received reports from all sectors. The campaign was proceeding ahead of schedule. Valkyrie military capacity was down by 60% in the first day. By the end of the week, it would be 0, but Shin took no pleasure in the reports. She thought about the horizon and its crew. She thought about Captain Park Tae-ho, who had served with her father decades ago. She thought about Lieutenant Kim Yuna, who had been her student at the Naval Academy. Good people. Peaceful people. Murdered because the Valkyrie could not tolerate humanity's existence. Admiral, Lieutenant Ru said, we are receiving a transmission from the Valkyrie High Minister. He wants to negotiate. Shin nodded. Put him through. High Minister Torvan appeared on the screen. He was an old Valkyrie with dull silver skin and tired eyes. He had ruled the Dominion for 200 years. He had crushed rebellions and conquered worlds. He had never known defeat. Now he knew it. Vice Admiral Shen, Torvan said. His voice was strained. This destruction must stop. We can discuss terms. We can find a peaceful solution. Shin looked at him without expression. High Minister, she said. 3 weeks ago, you destroyed our ship and murdered 200 of our people. Your council called it an accident. You offered us condolences. She paused. Did you think we would accept that? It was a mistake, Torvan said quickly. A rogue officer acting without authorization. We will punish those responsible. We will pay reparations. Just stop this attack. You are lying, Shin said calmly. We have intercepted your communications. We know that, Counselor. Morath ordered the attack on your direct command. We know that you have been planning to destroy humanity since we first made contact. Torvan's face went pale. Here are our terms, Shin continued. Complete and unconditional surrender of all Valkyrie military forces. Disbandment of your entire war machine. Extradition of all individuals responsible for the attack on the horizon. Payment of reparations to the families of the victims. That is impossible, Torvan said. You are asking us to become defenseless. Yes, Shin said. The Council will not allow this. They will intervene. Shin almost smiled. Almost. High Minister. The Council has done nothing while you manipulated them for centuries. They did nothing when you murdered our people. They will do nothing now. You are alone? The transmission ended. Torvan stared at the blank screen. Around him, his advisors were panicking, shouting, blaming each other. He said nothing. He understood now what he was facing. He had thought humans were primitive. He had thought they were weak and emotional and easily frightened. He had been wrong about all of it. Humans were not primitive. They had been hiding their true strength because they wanted peace. They were not weak. They were patient, disciplined, and absolutely ruthless when they needed to be. They were not emotional. They were cold. So very cold, and they were not frightened. They were furious. But their fury was not hot rage. It was ice. It was calculated. It was precise. That was the most terrifying thing of all. The war lasted 12 days. By the end, the Valkyrie Dominion had no military left. Their ships were captured or destroyed. Their bases were occupied. Their weapons were dismantled. They were exactly what Visadnal Shin had promised, defenseless, but the humans did not massacre civilians. They did not burn cities. They did not enslave the population. Instead, they established order. They provided medical care to wounded Valkyrie soldiers. They distributed food to areas where supply lines had been disrupted. They behaved like professionals doing an unpleasant job, not like conquerors enjoying their victory. A Valkyrie admiral named Korath surrendered his fleet on the 8th day. He expected to be executed or at least tortured for information. Instead, Terran medics treated a wound on his arm while a Terran officer politely asked him questions about fleet movements. "Why are you helping me?" Korath asked. "I am your enemy." The Terran officer, a young woman named Lieutenant Hong Jisu, looked at him with calm eyes. "You were our enemy," she said. "Now you are a prisoner of war. We treat prisoners according to our laws. When the war is over, you will be released." Korath did not understand. His people would never have done this. When the Valkyrie conquered an enemy, they crushed them completely. They showed no mercy because mercy was weakness, but the humans showed mercy, and they were clearly not weak. So what did that make them? He did not know. And that frightened him more than anything. On the 14th day, Vice Admiral Shin transmitted a message to the entire galaxy. "This is Vice Admiral Shin Hanna of the United Terran Fleet. The Valkyrie Dominion attacked Earth without provocation and murdered 200 of our citizens. We have responded. All Valkyrie military assets have been neutralized. We have not targeted civilians. We have not occupied territory. We have not sought revenge, only justice. This matter is between Earth and the Valkyrie. We ask the Galactic Council not to interfere." She paused. "We also ask the Council to remember this. Earth came to you in peace. We were answered with murder. We did not want this war. But we finished it. Think carefully before you test us again." The transmission ended. The galaxy was silent. The humans had won. And the way they had won was more terrifying than anyone had imagined. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Thousands of delegates sat in their seats, staring at the central platform where Ambassador Omaire stood alone. She was a small woman in her 60s with gray hair and a calm face. She wore a simple black suit. She carried no weapons, no guards, no symbols of power. She did not need them. The Council had watched Earth's war against the Valkyrie with growing horror. They had seen human ships appear from nowhere and destroy fleets in hours. They had seen human soldiers capture planets in days. They had seen the mighty Valkyrie Dominion, one of the oldest powers in the galaxy, brought to its knees in less than 2 weeks. Now the humans wanted to talk. Councillor Drevin, the eldest member of the Council, opened the session. He was from a species called the Morath, ancient beings of living crystal who had seen empires rise and fall for 100,000 years. His voice was like wind chimes in a storm. "Ambassador O," he said, "the Council recognizes Earth's representative. You may speak." Omaire bowed slightly. "Thank you, Counselor. I am here to explain Earth's actions and to present evidence regarding the destruction of our vessel Horizon." She touched a control on her podium. Holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber, showing documents, recordings, and data. 3 weeks ago, the Valkyrie Dominion deliberately destroyed our diplomatic ship and murdered 200 of our people. This was not an accident. This was not a rogue officer. This was a planned assassination ordered by High Minister Torvan and executed by Councillor Morath. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Morath's seat was empty. He had been captured by Terran forces 5 days ago. "We have intercepted communications proving this," O continued. "We have testimony from Valkyrie officers. We have data from their own military systems. The evidence is beyond dispute." She let the delegates study the information. Then she continued, "But this is not the only crime. Our investigation revealed that the Valkyrie have been manipulating this council for centuries. They have secretly destroyed 3 other species that threaten their power. They have used economic pressure to control trade routes. They have bribed, threatened, and assassinated to maintain their position." More murmurs. Some delegates looked shocked. Others looked guilty. They had known, or at least suspected. They had done nothing. "The Council knew this," O said quietly. "Many of you knew. You tolerated it because you feared the Valkyrie. You tolerated it because challenging them was dangerous. You tolerated it because it was easier to look away." Silence. No one argued. "No one could? We do not blame you," O said. "Fear is understandable. Self-preservation is natural, but Earth could not tolerate what the Valkyrie did. We could not allow the murder of our people to go unanswered. So we responded. A delegate from the Korathi Union stood up. His species resembled tall insects with clicking mandibles. You responded with war, he said angrily. You destroyed thousands of ships. You killed thousands of Valkyrie soldiers. You have destabilized the entire region. This was not justice. This was revenge, O looked at him calmly. Counselor, if we wanted revenge, the Valkyrie homeworld would be ash. Every city would be rubble. Every Valkyrie would be dead. We have the power to do that. We chose not to. The Korathi fell silent. We targeted military assets only, O continued. We disabled their ability to make war. We captured their leaders for trial. We did not harm civilians. We did not destroy infrastructure. We did not occupy territory. When the fighting stopped, we provided humanitarian aid. She looked around the chamber. Does this sound like revenge to you? Or does it sound like a measured response to an act of war? No one answered. Let me tell you what Earth believes, O said. Her voice was still calm, but there was steel beneath the calm. We believe that peace is precious and must be protected. We believe that justice matters and must be pursued. We believe that mercy is strength, not weakness. But we also believe that some crimes cannot be forgiven without consequence. Murder is one of those crimes. She stepped forward. The Valkyrie murdered our people. They expected no response because they thought we were weak. They were wrong. We are not weak. We simply prefer peace. Do not confuse preference with incapability. The chamber was absolutely silent. Even the environmental system seemed to have stopped humming. Earth has 3 demands, O said. First, the complete and permanent disbandment of the Valkyrie military. They have proven they cannot be trusted with weapons. Second, reparations paid to the families of the Horizon victims. Third, the extradition of all individuals responsible for the attack to face trial under Terran law. Counselor Drevin leaned forward. And if the Council refuses these demands? O looked at him with calm eyes. Then Earth will enforce them alone. We would prefer the Council's support. But we do not require it. Another delegate spoke up, a being of flowing water held in a containment suit. What happens to the Valkyrie people? You have left them defenseless. Will you conquer them? Rule them? No, O said. We will help them rebuild. We have already sent humanitarian missions to Valkyrie worlds. We are providing food, medicine, and engineering support. When their society is stable, we will leave. The water being rippled with confusion. You are helping the people who murdered your citizens? We are helping civilians who did not make the decision to attack us. Punishing innocents for the crimes of their leaders is not justice. It is cruelty. Earth does not practice cruelty. A long silence followed. Finally, Counselor Drevin spoke. Ambassador, I have watched civilizations for 100,000 years. I have seen conquerors and liberators, tyrants and saints. I have never seen anything like humanity. Waited. You terrify me, Drevin said. Not because of your weapons. Other species have weapons. Not because of your tactics. Other species have fought wars. You terrify me because I cannot predict you. He leaned back in his crystalline seat. You came to us with open hands asking for peace. We mocked you and rejected you. One of our members murdered your people. You responded with overwhelming force, crushing a power that has dominated this council for millennia. And now you stand here offering mercy to your defeated enemies. He shook his head slowly. War I understand. Conquest I understand. Even genocide I understand, but this combination of terrible violence and genuine compassion, this I do not understand. Nodded slowly. Perhaps that is because you have not met humans before, Counselor. We are complicated. We contain contradictions. We can be cruel and we can be kind, and sometimes in the same moment. We hate war, but we are very good at it. We love peace, but we will not be victims to keep it. She looked around the chamber at the thousands of alien faces. Do not try to put us in a box. Do not assume that because we showed mercy today, we will tolerate abuse tomorrow. Do not assume that because we were violent yesterday, we want to be violent forever. We are what we choose to be, moment by moment. And we choose based on how we are treated. She straightened her shoulders. Treat us with respect, and we will be the best friends you have ever had. Treat us with contempt, and we will be the worst enemies you have ever faced. The choice is yours. The council voted that afternoon. Earth's demands were accepted unanimously. The Valkyrie military would be disbanded. Reparations would be paid. Those responsible for the Horizon attack would face trial. More importantly, Earth was offered full membership in the Galactic Council. The vote was unanimous. As O left the chamber, Councillor Drevin approached her. Ambassador, he said. May I ask you something? Of course, Councillor. What would have happened if the Council had refused your demands? O looked at him with calm eyes that revealed nothing. You accepted them, she said. So we will never know. She walked away, leaving the ancient being staring after her. He had seen empires rise and fall for 100,000 years. He had seen species born and species die. He had seen wonders and horrors beyond imagination, but he had never been so unsure of what would happen next. The humans were in the galaxy now. Everything was going to change. 6 months had passed since the war. The galaxy was slowly adjusting to its new reality. On Velkar Prime, the capital city was being rebuilt. The fighting had damaged many buildings, and the collapsed economy had made recovery difficult. But there was help. Strange help. Unexpected help. Human help. Sareth stood at the window of her apartment and watched the Terran engineers working in the street below. They were installing a new water purification system, one that would provide clean water to the entire district. They worked quickly and efficiently, talking and laughing among themselves. She hated them. Her brother Korvax had served in the Valkyrie fleet. He had died on the 3rd day of the war when human fighters destroyed his ship. He was 22 years old. He had wanted to be an artist, but their father had pushed him into military service. Now he was gone, and these humans were in her city, smiling and building things as if they had not killed him. Sareth worked at the local distribution center, handing out food supplies to families who could not afford to buy their own. The humans had set up the center. They had provided the food. She took their supplies and she gave them to her people, and she hated every moment of it. A human woman worked at the center too. Her name was Corporal Anminji, and she was always cheerful and helpful and kind. She learned to speak basic Valkyrie within a few weeks. She remembered the names of every family that came for supplies. She played with the children and helped the elderly carry their packages. Sareth wanted to hate her most of all. But it was difficult. You seem tired today, Minji said one morning. Is everything okay? Sareth did not look at her. I am fine. If you need to talk, I am here. We are colleagues now, right? We are not colleagues, Sareth said coldly. You are an occupier. I am a conquered subject. Minji's smile faded. She looked sad but not angry. I am sorry you feel that way, she said quietly. I know this is hard. I know you lost people in the war. So did we? My cousin was on the horizon. Sareth finally looked at her. She had not known that. I am not here because I hate Valkyrie, Minji continued. I am here because the war is over and people need help. That is all. When your world is stable again, I will go home. Until then, I am going to do my job. She went back to work. Sareth watched her for a long moment. Then she went back to work. 2 days passed. Weeks passed. Sareth watched the humans carefully, waiting for them to reveal their true nature, waiting for them to start taking things, hurting people, acting like conquerors. They did not. They built schools. They built hospitals. They repaired power stations and communication networks. They trained Valkyrie workers to maintain the new systems. They asked permission before entering homes and apologized when they made mistakes. One day, Sareth saw a Terran soldier sitting alone in a park. He was a young man with a sad face. He was looking at a small photograph. She did not know why, but she walked over to him. Who is in the picture? She asked. The soldier looked up. He seemed surprised that she was talking to him. My friend, he said. Private Kwon Dae-yun. He died in the war. Sareth sat down on the bench beside him. She did not know why she did that either. How did he die? Valkyrie ground troops. We were securing a military base. They were waiting for us. He put the photograph away. He was 20 years old. He wanted to be a teacher. Sarah thought about Korvax. 22 years old. Wanted to be an artist? I lost my brother, she said. The soldier looked at her. I am sorry. He was in the fleet. Your people killed him. The soldier nodded slowly. I'm sorry for that too. They sat in silence for a while. Two people from enemy species, both grieving, both lost. Why are you helping us? Sareth finally asked. We murdered your people. We started this. Why do you not hate us? The soldier thought about it. Some of us do hate you, he said honestly. But hate does not rebuild cities. It does not feed children. It does not make things better. He looked at her. The war is over. You are not our enemy anymore. You are just people who need help. So we help. That is strange, Sareth said. Yes, the soldier agreed. Humans are strange. That night, Sareth could not sleep. She kept thinking about what the soldier had said. She kept thinking about Corporal Minji and her cousin on the horizon. She kept thinking about the humans building schools and hospitals while Valkyrie, civilians threw rocks at them and called them murderers. She thought about what her people would have done if they had won the war. They would have burned Earth to ashes. They would have enslaved the survivors. They would have erased humanity from history. The humans had won. And they were building schools. She did not understand them. But maybe she thought she was beginning to respect them on Station Prime. Ambassador O'Mire attended her first official council session as a full member. Earth's flag hung alongside the flags of 47 other species. It was a small flag, and Earth was still a small power. But no one in the chamber treated them as insignificant anymore. We have a new proposal, Ambassador O announced. Earth wishes to fund a joint exploration mission to the Outer Rim. We are looking for partners who share our curiosity about what lies beyond known space. Several species expressed interest. Even some who had mocked humanity 6 months ago were now eager to work with them. Funny how victory changed things. After the session, Counselor Drevin approached her. Ambassador, he said, I have been thinking about our last conversation. About how I cannot predict your species. Yes, Counselor? I have decided that this is not a bad thing. Predictable species become stagnant. They stop growing. Perhaps humanity's unpredictability is exactly what this galaxy needs. O smiled slightly. That is very kind, Counselor. It is not kindness. It is observation. He paused. I look forward to seeing what you do next. Above Earth, a new ship was being prepared for launch. It was called the Horizon 2, named in honor of the vessel that had been destroyed. The crew was made up of volunteers, people who wanted to continue the mission that Captain Tejo had started. Captain No Yunji stood on the bridge and reviewed her crew roster. She was a veteran of the war, but she had requested this assignment because she believed in exploration more than combat. She wanted to meet new species and see new worlds. She wanted to prove that humanity was more than just warriors. Her chief science officer was Dr. Cho Saren, daughter of Dr. Cho Minho, who had died on the original Horizon. Saren had her father's curiosity and his gentle smile. She had spent months preparing cultural presentations, just as her father had done. Are you ready? Yunji asked her. Saren looked out at the stars. My father believed that humanity's future was in the galaxy. He died trying to make that future happen. I am going to continue his work. The Horizon 2 launched on a clear morning. Thousands of people watched from Earth's surface and millions more watched on screens across the planet. The ship rose through the atmosphere and vanished into the darkness of space. Heading for the unknown on Velkar Prime, Sareth watched the broadcast in the distribution center. Corporal Minji stood beside her. Where are they going? Sareth asked. Deep space exploration. Looking for new worlds, new species. Learning new things? Sareth watched the ship disappear. She thought about the humans she had met over the past months. The soldier in the park. The engineers in the street. Corporal Minji with her cheerful smile and her dead cousin. They were so strange. So contradictory. They could destroy a military in 2 weeks and then spend 6 months building schools for the children of their enemies. They could grieve for their dead and still help the people who had killed them. They could be absolutely terrifying and absolutely kind, sometimes in the same moment. She did not understand them. Maybe she never would, but she was beginning to think that was okay. Minji, she said quietly, thank you for helping my people. Minji looked at her in surprise. Then she smiled. You're welcome, Sareth. On the screen, the horizon too grew smaller and smaller until it was just a point of light among the stars. Sareth whispered something under her breath. It was an old Valkyrie blessing, a wish for safe travels and good fortune. She had never thought she would offer it to humans. But the galaxy was changing. Maybe she could change too. The horizon too flew on into the darkness, carrying humanity's hope and curiosity to the edges of known space. Behind them, Earth watched and waited, proud and strong and ready for whatever came next. The galaxy had called humanity brutal. They had not understood. Humanity was not brutal. They were final. When they made war, they ended it. When they made peace, they meant it. When they offered help, they gave it. When they made a friend, they kept them. When they lost someone, they remembered them forever. That was what made them terrifying. That was what made them wonderful. That was what made them human. And the galaxy would never be the same.